All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. You know that feeling when you look at the price tag of a LiFePO4 battery and your jaw literally hits the floor? Yeah, we've all been there. You're definitely not alone. But today, we're going to completely dismantle that sticker shock. We are going to calculate the actual long-term engineering cost of energy storage. Because, look, at first glance, a lead-acid battery is so much cheaper upfront, right? It looks like the obvious budget-friendly choice. But to design a genuinely smart system, we really have to ask ourselves, does a cheaper battery actually cost less? Or is that lower price tag kind of just an illusion when you stretch it out over, say, a 5-year period? When most folks see the price of a lithium iron phosphate, LiFePO4 battery, the immediate reaction is usually, no way. There is no way that's worth it, and they just dismiss it right out of the gate because of that massive initial cost. Well, today, we're looking past the shelf price. We're using cold, hard math to figure out what we are actually buying. So, to figure out what we're actually paying for, we need to start with our first real engineering stepping stone, which is calculating the total stored energy. Because remember, a battery isn't just a label with an amp-hour rating, it is an energy storage device. And to find that total energy in watt-hours, we simply multiply the battery's voltage by its capacity in amp-hours. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates why those purchase prices can be so incredibly confusing. Just look at it on paper. A 12-volt, 100 amp-hour lead-acid battery and its LiFePO4 equivalent look absolutely identical. If we use our formula, 12 volts times 100 amp-hours, that means both of these batteries hold 1,200 watt-hours. That is 1.2 kilowatt-hours of stored energy. Exactly the same. But, and this is a massive but, a 100 amp-hour battery isn't automatically a 100 amp-hour usable battery. Actually, scratch that. It's almost never fully usable. Which brings us right to our second formula, calculating the energy we can actually safely extract from the thing. To get the real usable energy, we take the rated energy and multiply it by the manufacturer's recommended depth of discharge. Now, here is where the chemistry creates a really stark contrast. Lead-acid batteries, they suffer severe lifespan reduction if you discharge them past 50%. You are effectively losing access to half your battery right out of the gate. But LiFePO4, well, it can safely be drained all the way down to 90% without ruining the cells. This difference translates directly into usable, real-world power. Even before we talk about how long these batteries actually live, the math shows the lithium battery is already delivering nearly double the usable energy per cycle. We're talking 1.08 kilowatt-hours compared to just 0.6 for the lead-acid. And remember, that's from the exact same rated capacity. Okay, moving on to our third formula. Because let's face it, a battery is valuable not just for the energy it stores once, but for the energy it can deliver repeatedly throughout its entire cycle life. So the lifetime energy delivered is calculated by taking that usable energy per cycle we just found and multiplying it by the total number of cycles the battery can actually perform. If we look at standard specs out there, your typical lead-acid battery might achieve, 500 charge and discharge cycles before its capacity is just spent. But the LiFePO4 battery, it's rated for a massive 4,000 cycles. I mean, we are talking about a completely different league of longevity here. And when we multiply that usable energy per cycle by the total cycle life, wow, the disparity is absolutely staggering. We get 300 kilowatt-hours of total lifetime energy for the lead-acid versus an incredible 4,320 kilowatt-hours for the LiFePO4. The lithium battery is quite literally doing over 14 times the work over its lifetime. So, the absolute crucial point is right here with our final and honestly most important calculation. This right here is exactly how engineers evaluate energy storage. We find the cost per delivered kilowatt hour by simply dividing the upfront purchase price of the battery by that total lifetime energy it's going to deliver. Let's apply some real numbers to this to really put it into perspective. Imagine the lead-acid battery costs $200 sitting there on the shelf, while the LiFePO4 battery costs twice as much, sitting right next to it at $400. You know, this is the exact moment most people just grab the cheaper box and walk away. But let's actually run the engineering math. When we crunch those numbers, 200 divided by 300 kilowatt-hours gives us the actual working rate for the lead-acid. Right alongside it, we take that $400 and divide it by the massive 4,320 kilowatt-hours of lifetime energy. That gives us our lithium rate. And drumroll please, that brings the true cost of the LiFePO4 battery down to an absolutely incredible 9 cents per delivered kilowatt hour. 9 cents! Even though that lithium battery costs twice as much initially, its long-term energy cost is just a tiny fraction of the 67 cents per kilowatt hour you're paying for the lead acid. This brilliantly illustrates exactly why engineers use this metric. The quote-unquote cheaper battery on the shelf, it's actually over 7 times more expensive to actually use. All right, moving on to our next section, hidden performance factors, the 5-year horizon. Because beyond just the pure math of the cycles, if we evaluate these systems over, say, a 5-year timeline, it reveals some really sneaky hidden costs hiding right beneath the surface. While a quality LiFePO4 battery might easily last that entire 5 years, a lead-acid setup is probably going to require multiple replacements in that same window. And every single replacement means racking up extra costs and labor, dealing with totally frustrating system downtime, and, let's be honest here, probably throwing out your back carrying an 80-pound block of lead. Furthermore, lead-acid batteries just waste a lot more energy during the charging process. It's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. If you're using solar panels, this lower charging efficiency means you might actually need to buy a larger, much more expensive solar array or run a noisy generator a lot longer just to make up for the energy that the lead-acid battery is inherently losing. Oh, and lead-acid also suffers from severe voltage drop, or sag, under heavy loads. And if you've ever had your inverter's low-voltage alarm start screaming at you and shut your system down prematurely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. LiFePO4, on the other hand, it maintains a highly stable voltage straight across its entire discharge cycle, which keeps all your appliances running perfectly smoothly. Which brings us to our final section, system reliability and universal battery safety. Now, to be perfectly impartial here, lead-acid does remain a pretty practical, budget-friendly choice if you're building a very occasional light-use system. We're not knocking it entirely. But regardless of which chemistry you end up going with, strict safety rules universally apply. You absolutely must always install the correct fuse protection, double-check that polarity before making connections, use the proper cable sizing, and physically secure your mounting. And guys, it is absolutely vital to strictly follow the manufacturer's specific charging specs to prevent severe hazards. A poor charging configuration is going to create massive reliability problems no matter what battery you buy. So when we zoom out and factor in the usable energy, the cycle life, the charging efficiency, and those completely inevitable replacement costs, the economics look entirely different from that simple little price tag on the shelf. The absolute truth is, the cheapest battery up front is simply not always the lowest cost battery in the long run. Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on today. If 2 batteries have the exact same amp-hour rating on the sticker, but totally different cycle lives and usable depths of discharge, which one are you truly paying more for? Next time you sit down to price out an off-grid system, I challenge you to look past that initial sticker shock. Ask yourself, are you just buying a battery for its label, or are you paying for the actual power it's going to reliably deliver?